Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm very excited to do this. Finally going to be able to go over again, this is Storms from TYM, of course. I'm going to go over kind of live the AMA thread that I made on Monday. So it's been roughly 5 days. And that was the Ask Me Anything thread. Now, I went down through a few of these, and I stopped, and I wanted to actually go over them live with you. So some of these I haven't even seen yet. Okay, so then after I saw a few questions, I was really excited to get into it. So I'm just gonna go down through it. All right, so from again, I might not necessarily know how to pronounce everyone's names. Sassolino, perhaps. I guess that's how you pronounce that one. I'm not going to try to pronounce all these names, by the way. But anyway, so when I made that Gora thread that got me banned, why didn't I get a warning first? Moving on. No, but really, I could look into that. But yeah, we'll move on. What's your favorite dishes and why? Okay, so bowls. I love cereal. All right, how do you feel about the lifespan of TYM, as in how long it's been up and an active site, and you work as an owner? So without looking in the second question, again, a lot of these got me really excited. So how do I feel about the lifespan of TYM? So I guess that, okay, so as in how long it's been up and an active site. I feel very proud of where we've come. And I say we is because this isn't really mine. I mean, technically, yes, I own it, but without each and every one of you, tester would not be a thing. It just would not. So I feel very proud of how far we've come. It's been a lot of work, a lot of headache. I say headache, we'll get into that. But, back in November of 2009, when basically what is now TesterMite started, I wouldn't have thought it would. Well, I shouldn't say I wouldn't have thought it would be what it is now. That's not a right way to say it. What I really mean by that is that I was committed that day to keep it going. Meaning, a year later, I did not plan on saying kind of giving up on it, just leaving it, or I don't know how else I want to put that. I was just committed, simply put. There's other Mortal Kombat sites out there that have been around for longer, and but the thing is, what we were starting, it was very exciting to be a part of. So again, I feel, without trying to get this too long-winded, I feel very proud of how far we've come, and I'm really excited about the future for us. All right, so through growing the site from its infancy over a decade, is there anything you wish you could have did differently with it? I'm not perfect, but I can't really think of anything that was either a big mistake or done differently. Yeah, that one, I can say that even now, I like to just keep moving forward. And that just goes to show with our site upgrades that we have planned. Now, by the time that you guys hear this or whatnot, this phone call I'm about to mention will probably already have taken place. But I have a conference call with my developer tomorrow evening to discuss the kind of next step in this process, which is really exciting. So I feel very good about it. I don't want to give away too many details, but anyway. So as far as done differently, though, not really. I mean, honestly, on kind of related, there have been times where I thought about handing the keys off to someone else. I mean, handing ownership over to someone else, especially with this last like year and a half that I don't even know how long I stepped away for, but I stepped away for a while. I was just so burnt out. I didn't even want to look at it. I didn't even pull TestRMite up. I honestly did not. I needed a break from it. Of course, I cared if it was online or not. I'm sure I would have heard about it because through text messages from some staff members that I would have acted on, but I needed a break. So as far as do differently there, I'm glad I didn't hand it off. But my fear with that is give it to someone else, and all right, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to flake out after a year or less, or are they not going to upgrade it? You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's a big commitment. You know everything you've put into it for how many years. You know its ins and outs. You know your history. It's your strong points, your weaknesses, and everything around it. So anyway, hello brain dead. Alright, so how do you feel about renowned high-level players leaving TYM for a different platform? Discord, Twitter, also, how have you been? Awesome. Sapoto. This, I respect it. I respect that they're going to other places to discuss things, especially during the time that I was away, maybe not updating as much. And now, thankfully, we have editors that I can't express them how much I appreciate what they're doing, because I don't do that stuff anymore. I'm not posting the news. Honestly, I have no really interest to do it anymore. I want the site to be updated, but that's why we're kind of working with our new editors to kind of have that in place. But as far as Discord, things like that are always going to come up. What's the next thing? Kind of what's seeing around the corner. Again, what's new, what's better. I mean, in today's world, you cannot be complacent, or you cannot stand still with anything, especially online and everything else. And of course, checking out competition, that kind of thing. Really, any kind of business or website, whatever else. That's stuff that you want to do to keep yourself relevant, because if you don't, then you're going to be like, you're not going to know why you are losing members or users, etc., or community for that matter. So again, our upgrades coming up, it's going to have some Discord integration in it. I really don't know anything about Discord other than a lot of people like it, a lot of people still use it. I'm sure that's going to last for a while. So we're going to have some Discord integration. Twitter's another beast, but I think with TestRMite, I think we've established a place that everyone kind of knows, and thankfully, I'm very thankful for this, but everyone kind of knows, well, hey, I'm going to check out TestRMite because I'm sure everyone's flocking there. At least that's kind of what the feeling that I get. But yeah, I mean, Discord, Twitter, those types of things, and things that we don't even know about yet, I'm sure will pop up in the future. It's just, you got to be on your feet. You got to be ready for that stuff. So I hope that answers your question. And I am very well, and thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. All right, so what's the progress on TYM site updates? Hit the mark on fundraiser yet? Yes. Thank you everyone very much for that, because I actually almost did not put that GoFundMe up. I didn't like doing that. I didn't like asking people for money. Never did it before, but you guys proved me wrong. Thank everyone who contributed to that. Even if you didn't contribute, you just spread the word on it, whatever else. Between the GoFundMe and PayPal, it was enough to pay for, again, send my developer money to get things rolling, but also paying for these add-ons, these upgrades. So thank you, everyone. Alright, TYM for me continues to be the best place to discuss MK games at technical and competitive level. Okay, so the question: the original idea of TYM come out as a passion for MK franchise, a hobby to kill boredom, or it's somehow something that I guess, gave lucrative return to you personally? Personally, Tester might I wanted to be more involved when Tester might, the reason why Tester might is or ever became something is because I wanted to actually just be more involved. I didn't want to just, I didn't want to be just a member coming to the forum to check it out. I wanted to kind of be behind the scenes. I wanted to really, voice where the direction that we went. And something I never did before. I never had my own forum for something, especially a passion. So really that comes to a passion for the MK franchise, but also not just the MK franchise, but it was really about the players back then. We're a competitive site. Sure, we'll try to keep up with really everything there is. Mortal Kombat, not just Mortal Kombat, but NetherRealm Studios, because ever since Injustice came out, we try to support NetherRealm Studios as a whole. Just welcome all of their work, all the great games that they turn out. We try to support everything. But yeah, between the MK franchise and just the competitive level, the players, it's a second family, I think, for a lot of people. Or a lot of players. So hopefully that answered your question there. All right. So when should we expect the first major update as a result of your fundraiser? What will update entail? So the first major update, really with that, again, I'll have a call tomorrow. Actually, it'll be my second call tomorrow. But so I can tell you that the updates plan to come out at the latest a week before the game drops, but I'm pushing to have that actually 2 weeks before the game drops, just because we can work out kinks and that kind of thing. But my developer plans to kind of hang out and whatnot, and just make sure everything goes well. So I'm really confident with that. So I know many of you don't know that stuff, because I sent actually a private message to a lot of the those who donated to kind of give them some early access to information. Alright, so would you be open to running TYM tournaments once MK11 comes out, promoted here, streamed with players competing for grand finals? So running Tester might tournaments, I'd be up for it, but as far as like live tournaments at hotels, that kind of thing, that I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge in that. I know that would be pricey because you'd have to rent rooms, that kind of thing. If it's online tournaments, I'm sure we could work out something if someone had interest, and of course they'd be promoted here. That's a given. And would you be open to having a competitive team to represent TYM similar to a clan? Sure, yeah, but I mean there couldn't really be like money involved, because a website like Tester Might, we don't make it's kind of kind of why there's been that GoFundMe. It just as long as the site is sustained with the ads that are on the site, then I'm happy. Change your name for free? Typically no, because if we did this, it's how many thousands of members that we have, and name changes depending who the person is can just be a lot. So it's kind of gets ridiculous. So that's why we do the for premium members. All right. Okay, so Storms, how much time and effort does it take to run a site like TYM? Have you ever tried researching out interviews with NRS developers, pro players, NRS content creators? I'm sorry. It takes it does take a lot of time, but not just for me personally. This fellow here, for example, right underneath me, Hellblazer, he does an awesome job, just like our other editors, to keep the information flowing, keep the news flowing. Today, for example, Jade was revealed on the the combat cast, which I wasn't able to watch because I was actually at work. But yeah, this guy here, he covered that. So I mean, it's all of our time. But originally, there's a lot of time to get a website, or especially, I mean, there's different kinds of websites. But say, for example, for us, we're mainly a forum. So if I go back to the time that TYM started, then it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot more time because it takes a lot more effort to get, kind of get where the rubber meets the road, and just to get your name out there. A lot of networking. You have to do it more often than now, of course. I mean, not that you shouldn't do it now, but you should. But it takes a good bit of time, especially when there's any kind of issues. Yeah, I mean, kind of you name it. Especially, okay, so you're building up your forum, getting your staff in place, and staff, it basically ends up being the members that are showing those qualities to become staff members, like moderators, etc. So you give those permissions, etc. And okay, so as far as the interviews, I don't want to say anything about that right now, because I might have something, but I might not. All right, pro players, sure. Again, with this being my second kind of recording, if you want to call this a TYM podcast, so to speak, sure. But anyway, but yeah, pro players, NRS content creators, sure. Yeah, I would love to dial in and kind of have phone or recorded conversations with different creators and go down through a list of questions and just chat. That'd be great. I'd be up for that. All right, so yeah, don't do that. Okay, yeah, bad idea. Thanks. You'll get that's against our rules. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we'll keep going here. All right. Okay, so why go for steak when you can chow down on those $15 meat curtains? Oh, that wasn't for me. Okay, I just realized that. All right. Okay, yeah, skipping that. All right. Okay. Okay, another good actual question. I heard there won't be character icons in the forums for MK11. What is the reason? Alright, so with that, there might not be. I'm heading towards there not be because of how TYM will look after the upgrades. So basically, I said if there's still an interest for them after we kind of get the new look of TYM on there and see how that goes. If there's still a huge interest, sure, I'm gonna look into it. But as of now, I just don't plan on it. You will see why. Okay, just hold tight. All right. Where can I get a TYM shirt? If you go to teespring.com/testyourmight, there's actually some on there. Still, it's like the I will and then TYM, so I will test your might. And there's a few other ones on there too. Not many. We don't have a whole lot of designs, but there's the classic look, and then there's also that one. Okay, moving on. Okay. Question. Again, these are the, what are all the names of your teeth? Okay. Alright, this is the first time I've actually, going down through this thread, like I said, so it's all live for me. TYM wise, what was your worse fate than death? Okay. All right. Yeah, it's coming, man. It's coming. Alright, so okay. Any information or timeline on the site changes that are in progress as a result of the donation drive? Yeah, I mean, I can't already answer that. Unless you're new to this, I should have included you on that. But yeah, they're coming. Again, we're about just over 2 months out. Today's February 14th. It's actually Valentine's Day today. So in just over 2 months, we're going to have the game. So in just over 2 months, by that time, am I going the right way here? Yeah. So we're looking at this. Yeah, around that time. Okay, so with that, as far as updates, again, I have a call tomorrow to discuss a few things, and I'm going to update the private message that I have all those who donated in it, and then shortly after that, I'll let everyone know in a thread. All right, page 3. Do you plan on going to any major events this year to possibly represent TYM? I don't really feel like I need to go to represent TYM. I'm not going to be running around in the tournament area with a Tester shirt on and kind of, hey, look at me. I would view that as, do I plan to go to any events this year? I haven't actually been to an event for a while. I think one of the last ones I was at, I know I saw Shock there. MF Slayer was there. It had to have been Tekken Master was there. It was an Injustice tournament, so it was an Injustice 2 tournament. It had to have been. But anyway, I stopped in to kind of check things out. If people didn't realize that I was there, I was just coming to check things out. I actually wasn't going to play or anything. I actually prefer watching. I prefer just kind of checking things out, hanging out, and whatnot. But as far as my next event, I don't really have a planned next event. My work schedule right now is kind of way out there, so yeah, as of now, I don't really have anything planned. But again, I have a lot of tournaments that are around me, thanks to Big E and other tournaments as well. But yeah, you have Winter Brawl. I have NEC. And it kind of goes from there. Anyway, excuse me. So that was the AMA thread. Okay, went through all 3 pages. So I hope that was good. Again, I was very excited to do this for you guys. Looking to have another podcast soon, and we'll kind of go from there. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for contributing, and hopefully we'll see you on the forums. Thanks, guys. Alright, everyone, Storms here again. I just wanted to go back in and touch base on something that I thought I was actually going to cover in one of these questions, but I ended up kind of skipping over it. Kind of related to these questions here, but any issues, or it was something about the time involved in running Test Your Might. And, it was when I mentioned headaches. And that was, I think it was 2013. I'm pretty sure it was 2013. So it was actually after the second year of Mortal Kombat at EVO. Again, I forget exactly the time frame. But Perfect Legend had won again. And it's funny I say that now because when Hellblazer, King, and myself made a podcast a few days ago, it was last Sunday, when I mentioned about the players that dominated in Mortal Kombat 9, the 2 that really stuck out was Ryo and CD Jr. And I failed to even mention PL, even though he won EVO for Mortal Kombat 9 2 years in a row. And I think with that, it was just back then, with that game's lifespan, basically Rio and C Junior were winning all the majors. Well, not all of them. There were other players in there, but with Rio and C Junior, they were very dominant with that game. And Perfect Legend didn't really go to any other tournaments other than Evo. So it's almost like this guy that shows up to Evo and he wins. So I guess that's maybe why I forgot to mention him. But obviously PL very much dominated for Mortal Kombat 9 because, again, winning Evo 2 years in a row, that doesn't exactly happen often. Anyway, but back to what I was saying, we actually had a splash page, meaning, of course, I guess now it'd be relevant too because you have mobile designs and people are on the phone checking the site out and whatnot. But we actually had a splash page. It was actually meant for desktop view back then, but we actually had a splash page planned for not only Evo, but also it might not even been Evo. All I know is that there was a Russian tournament that we were aiming to support with links and information and everything else. But there's also a UK tournament that we planned on supporting, and then there was something else. It was a US event. It might have been Evo, but I don't think it was, because the 2012 and 2013 I actually went to both of those 2 years in a row at Evo. 2012, of course, I was there for that, where Perfect Legend was against C Junior and the Grand Finals. PL, of course, was using Kung Lao, and PL turned to Rain. And anyway, and then 2013 was really cool because, of course, we had two games there. We had Injustice, Gods Among Us, and we had Mortal Kombat 9 for its it would be the third year in a row, which actually DJT won Evo that year. He actually it was Rio and DJT actually won with Cyrax, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it was DJT that won 2013. But anyway, we had a splash page set and everything, and I forget exactly when this happened, but guess what? The site crashed. It was pretty horrible, because looking into our host at the time, I had called them trying to figure this out, hoping it's going to be like a quick fix. So, nothing is available. Basically, you went to testyourmic.com and you basically got like a white screen or whatever it said. It just wasn't good. So I had to call my host and see what was going on. And basically, it was a mechanical hardware issue to where something had failed and they needed to replace it, replace the driver on the server. I forget exactly how it was worded, but basically they were mirrored. The drivers were mirrored. Again, I forget all the terminology of it, but apparently someone at our host, like actual person, I was told put this in backwards. So again, put the replacement in backwards, so therefore it wiped everything on the server, which is pretty terrifying, because again, that's back end stuff that pretty much every website that has a lot of data on it, like us, we need to have backups just in case those things happen. And we did have backups, but again, there was a lot of technical stuff to it that anyway, it took us a while to get back online. It might have been actually about 2 weeks before we were back online. And honestly, if I want to say I feel depressed just thinking about it, but I do. I just remember how I felt back then. kind of the whole time I felt like I was letting down the community because I was so excited about everything that we had planned. And then it kind of went to crap, you know. So I was working with my developer to get everything back online. We found a backup that was actually complete, because one of the issues with some of the backups that we had weren't complete, so we couldn't use them. So that just made like the horror of everything just greater. So we finally found a backup that was complete, and of course it was like 6 months old. So that's where I was kind of tied into Evo, because I remember people at one point were like, oh, Evo 2013 or Evo, no, it had to have been 2012, yeah. Evo 2012 layout, PL never won, and it was a lot of joking about that, because again, the backup that we had was prior to Evo 2012. So that was pretty horrible, because again, 6 months, you could imagine 6 months of data is done. Anyone who signed up in that time frame, obviously any posts that are made, everything that you're doing to it is wiped. It was pretty horrible. That was probably like the worst experience that we've had. And I pretty much put myself into exile the whole time. I'm not gonna lie, I just stayed offline. I was just like, until I have something good to say. Yeah, I was kind of preparing myself to start over, which I mean exactly just that. Starting Test Your Might from like the ground up, meaning just no posts, no threads. It was a pretty scary thought. Thankfully, we didn't have to do that. Again, losing 6 months of data was really crappy, but it's better than losing years. I mean, anyway, so I wanted to add that in there. So, again, but thanks everyone for contributing to that thread. I hope to do this more and more, whether it's podcasts or it's Ask Me threads, which probably won't have one of those for a while, but guests on the podcast, I'm all for it. So I'll be looking more into that. And one thing I'd really, and I get excited just thinking about it, is getting into like the 3D era. Especially Mortal Kombat Deception. Get with folks who were around during that time, and having them on here and discussing that kind of stuff, and just kind of giving some history to those two, weren't around back then, and kind of giving them like a taste of what it was like when we first got online, first were playing against each other, and it wasn't like an actual like live tournament, because it took us many years after that to actually step foot in a live arena space. Now it's so common, it's ridiculous. It's almost like you are forgetting your history, but you just can't. So anyway, Storm's here, Test Your Might, and see you next time. Thank you very much.